Welcome to Hidden Ways to Reimagine Successful Family Relationships and to my series on Same Page, Different Books, where I reflect on those areas where family members are supposed to be on the same page or are expected to be on the same page, but unfortunately they are reading different books. Under this series, I've looked at, for example, having a child, with special needs, which was the point I considered last week. But I just felt I needed to do a bit more on having a child with special needs and share a bit more tips with you. So today I'll be looking at the cost and also some of those benefits of having a child with special needs. Sometimes we think only about the cost. We think about the challenges. We totally forget, the fact that maybe there could also be some benefit depending on how you look at it. In all my videos, all I'm trying to do is to help you reimagine, to think about your relationship, in a completely different way. See it in a different way, and you'll be very, very surprised that things may really not be as bad as they seem. So, looking at the cost of having a child with special needs, of course, there are going to be costs, especially in terms of your relationship with others and your relationship to the world at large. By the time you have a child with special needs in the first place, you might lose some of your very, very close friends because you will not have maybe things, to discuss, in common. You might have the kind of routine because everything is going to be built around the needs of the child. So you might not be able to keep up with some of those social engagements. So you might begin to lose one by one some of those friends you always had, because it's like there is a component, to your life that somehow you are just isolated and you are not able to fit into the routine of your friends. So it's going to cost you your friendship, with people. It might also cost you even your friendship with members of your family because they might really not understand, what is happening. There might be some kind of expectations, and then because you want to focus on your child with special needs, the tendency also is that you are not able to be in different places at the same time. So you might also be stepping on the toes of maybe few members of your family as well, especially if you don't let them know that you do have a child with special needs. Yeah, so relationship with your friends might be a cost you have to pay, relationship with members of the family, and then again, even relationship with your immediate family, like maybe other children. So focusing excessively on the needs of a child with special needs might actually shift your focus from other children you have in a family. And whether you like it or not, sometimes they may not even take it, really so well. They might get into other things, maybe to make you get the attention. And again, there might be other things happening right under your nose that you don't get to see because you focus on the child with special needs. So it can be really very, very challenging because in that case, you need to have your eye opened and really be on top of your game. But I think the greatest cost I really want to discuss with you today is your own relationship with your partner. It could cost you that relationship. And I've seen families that are torn apart because a member of maybe a spouse finds it difficult really to cope or to accept having a child, with a special needs. And this may be, because maybe the mother's attention is totally focused on the child. So the spouse feels a bit ignored, or maybe the situation is just too overwhelming. So whatever the case is, that is also a possible cost that you might have to pay. And then, of course, if that happens, that comes a lot with other financial costs. Maybe if you have a child with special needs, you might not be able to work. In your family, somebody might have to stay at home to take care of the child with special needs, and if it happens to be you as the mother, it means you're going to have a single income, family. There's going to be that financial pressure in the family. It also will have to do with self-esteem. You're going to feel a bit worthless because you're not contributing. There are going to be a series of things. And again, because not only that you're not working, you are also not building up a career. So it's like you see yourself having to sacrifice everything, and all this can be really very, very overwhelming. And unless you have a totally different approach, you embrace your situation and just crack on with it, it can be a very, very stressful time. But again, I want to move from the cost and also to think about the benefits, especially if you find yourself maybe a single mother, or maybe your relationship with your spouse ended because you have a child with special needs. If that is the case, please, I strongly want to advise you not to come up with any blame game, not to put the blame on the child. It is because of the child. I personally believe that if your spouse was meant to be with you, even with a child with special needs, he's going to stay. So if he's not staying, he's just not meant to stay. He's just using that as an excuse to go. So if that happens to you, for example, don't put the blame on the child. And a way also not to go about that is to find yourself again immediately in another relationship, because in that case, you will just be duplicating the problem. So if, for example, your partner or your spouse, who is a biological father of your child, is not able to cope, how do you expect another person who is a total stranger to be able to cope with the situation? So a way not to go about that is to rush into another relationship, possibly because you want some kind of financial help, but again, you're going to create more problems. So again, there are going to be benefits, and I think the first benefit I want to consider is the fact that you will now be able to take all the decisions. You will be able to take all the decisions, and I think this is also going to be very, very beneficial for your child, because in that case, there is no confusion in the terms of the father wanting one thing, the mother wanting one thing, and that clash could really be very challenging even for children without special needs, not to talk about children with special needs. So in that case, you have a clarity, you have an open field to be able to shape, to mold your child exactly the way you want him to go. Especially if you have two different approaches to parenting. If, for example, your partner was very, very limiting, and you are the kind of person who is quite open and not afraid, to make your child, try things, this will be the time really for you to be able to have a single-minded, purpose towards supporting your child to be the best that he or she can be. So that's a huge advantage. That's a huge benefit you have having to raise a child with special needs alone. And then again, you might also begin to think of a career. I've seen so many women who are able to go for a course, go to enroll on a university degree, and also trying to improve themselves, while at the same time taking care of a child with special needs. So I think the world really is your oyster, and then, like I said, it depends on how you really want to go about it. So there are huge opportunities for you out there. There shouldn't be any kind of limitation, because this is your world. This is your own reality. And then again, it depends on how you want to deal with it. Like I said in my previous video, the first thing is to embrace your reality. You haven't got another life. This is your life. Yes, if we do have the chance, we want our lives to be different, but unfortunately, it is not different. This is what it is, and then you just need to accept it for what it is. You need to embrace it, and you begin to see things, differently. Begin to see things differently. So hopefully in this video, I've been able to encourage you, especially if you have a child with special needs and the different costs that you might have to bear if you have a child with special needs, but again, focusing more on the benefit, that you are really able to shape your own child according to the way God has meant that child to be. I want to conclude with my own example as well. Like I said, I have a son who was diagnosed, with autism, and I did share in my previous video that I do not put the tag on him. I just see him as a child created in the image and likeness of God. And once I embraced this reality, it became really very easier for me. And really, I think it is a privilege, and I really don't see myself being the mother of someone else apart from, my son, with special needs. He comes with his own challenges, but at the same time, he comes with his own joys, and he comes with his own satisfaction, and then especially, for when you don't take life, for granted. So in a question of time, it becomes, it gets easier and easier and easier. And I really hope and wish you all the best at any stage you are with a child with special needs. It comes with challenges. It's going to cost you like every other thing. But again, if you see things differently, you might as well just focus on some of those benefits. And believe me, there are really many of them. So please focus on your child, enjoy the journey, embrace it, and then make sure you just there to allow your child to explore the world, for what it is, and then you'll be very, very surprised at what lies, at the end of the tunnel. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, and the journey will become easier and easier and easier every day. Okay, bye-bye.